Don't you want it? 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 Don't you want it?
Deadlights pod.
Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Welcome to the Deadlights podcast, season 4. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm your other host, Leslie, and we're bringing you another week of horror.
Yet another.
In where?
We are in another place. Yet again, we've changed locations, Anya.
Haha.
Welcome to the new Playground Social Studios.
Hell yeah.
We're very happy to be here. Yeah, there we
That's
are.
you.
That's us. Feeling a little bit a different vibe this season, I think. We're trying out something new. Playground Social has relocated its studio, and so we are relocating our podcast to the new studio. So thanks for welcoming us, Playground Social.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's a very beautiful space, and I'm very fortunate to be here.
And
So-
we have a new member joining us, Rudy, in the booth. Hey, Rudy. Hey, thank you for joining us. We're happy to have you. We're happy to have you at the helm. Thank you. One quick question: do you like horror movies at all, Rudy? Okay, that's
one I haven't seen, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. All
Not
right.
fully.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll expand your knowledge a little bit, Rudy, and to everyone else, welcome to season 4. Wow.
Yee.
Didn't think we were going to get here when we first started this, but 106th episode.
106. Well, we kind of joked around. We're like, we're going to keep doing this until we're 80. But
We're on the way.
I don't know. They just keep adding more and more horror every year.
Every year.
So,
We just got to keep watching it
Absolutely.
and keep talking about it.
yeah.
So let's kick it off, I guess.
Yeah. What are we watching today?
We're watching
Frown.
Frown. Smile
Ew.
from 2022, written and directed by Parker Finn. After witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving a patient, a psychiatrist becomes increasingly convinced she's being threatened by an uncanny entity.
Ooh.
Ew. Yikes.
I don't want to be followed.
No.
Yeah.
It's a very creepy concept to have anything pursuing you, and especially if it's an unnamed, unseen entity coming
Well,
at you.
Also, it's a chameleon, so like, it's changing. You're not safe. You don't know who's around you.
Mm-hmm.
That could be like trying to actively kill you.
Even with a smile on their face. And we're I enjoy that we're starting off with this movie because we are talking about a more recent horror film. And I think this one's a great example of a movie that takes a lot of influence and old tricks from 70s and 80s horror films, but really feels like modernizes it. You know, I think of a lot of Hereditary in here, and The Ring, and It Follows. All these movies that kind of feel like they're in like the next generation of horror that we're kind of experimenting with now. And it's fun to see that horror movies can still be successful, because I think this movie is really scary.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah.
I haven't been creeped out by a movie in a long time, and Smile has done it. It is this like under your skin kind of creepy crawly that is it's probably yeah, it's one of the scariest movies that I've seen in a little bit.
I think, yeah, it definitely ranks up there. And also what's great about it is we're talking about things. We're not just being scary for scary's sake. We're actually
Yeah.
trying to address mental illness. Trauma.
Living with trauma can feel almost like you're cursed. And I wanted to sort of see, like, what if we manifested that into a real curse and what that might feel like if you were actively being pursued by your trauma.
It's a classic thing that we try to talk about in horror. Some more successfully than others. It's a tough thing to address, and I think we'll find out if this one did it successfully over this episode. But also a very relevant thing to talk about. So, should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Season 4. Let's start off with the can. Open it up.
I don't have a can with me, but
no, we don't have any cans. Sorry, we're in a clean
trying
studio.
to like adjust and see what I could do.
Sorry, we're still settling into this set, y'all. All right. So the can, we're talking about the filmmaking, and I think it's a very strong point about this movie. I kind of already mentioned they're using a lot of things that feel very 70s influence. Mostly, I think, with the color tone, which is very cool, very cold blues,
greens,
and very washed out, pretty dreary, honestly. And then insane amount of long takes.
Oh yeah,
so many long takes, slow paced shots that really set you into that moment, and some of those moments are not moments that you want to be set into. So it kind of adds to that horror, that dread that we're along for the ride of this movie with this character and we're not being let out.
Yeah, but it's also very crisp. The cameras they're using are so, you're getting every fucking detail in that shot. So with it being a longer, slow edited, we're getting just the intensity of it. I don't know, like it feels like you're there, and I that is when I just want to escape. I just want to get out of there.
Yeah, because a lot of those long takes lead to something really creepy.
It was kind of a combination of like being very wide and utilizing the environment, wide lenses, maybe a little bit more depth of field, having her small in frame, and then juxtaposing that with being right in there.
It's a great mix of having these long takes that leave you in moments, but then also mixing it with hard cuts to a very creepy image, smiles or gruesome images.
That would be like the jump scares. I think they were very tactful with them, which I appreciate because to me, like I've mentioned before, I get bored. I don't want to just like things jumping at me. And for me, for the edits of these really long scenes, the acting for me was pretty impressive. I didn't know a lot of the people that were in it. And for them to be holding such a scary face while moving around the room. So like they were some of the most like choreographed movements that I've seen that wasn't like a dance movie, like climax.
I often love writing impossible tasks for actors and then convincing them they can do it. Getting actors to push themselves and to tackle really complicated things. Caitlin, she came out and we worked on how it was all gonna happen, but honestly, it's all about being on the day in front of the camera and just having the confidence to go for it.
Well done, Caitlin.
When you are at the extreme point of any emotion that is like survival based, if it's anxiety, if it's fear, if it's anger, you become very animalistic.
So to me, to also be thinking of the actors being in these moments and trying to draw from that creepiness is another element in why I thought was scary.
Yeah, I think we should talk about, Sosie Bacon plays the main character whose name is Rose, Dr. Rose.
Dr. Rose.
And I think she does a great job of going through the journey of unraveling. She starts off as a very put together psychiatrist, kind of mundane almost, like set within her day-to-day life, not really too concerned about what's going on.
She's
overworked.
but also she wants to be there.
She wants to help.
I'm gonna.
Hey, Carl. What's going on today?
I'm dying.
No. I don't think so.
And then witnesses this traumatic incident, and then goes through what all these other people were going through, which is seeing things, being haunted, being stalked by this entity that's coming after her.
Yeah.
To see her unravel and kind of fall apart where she's completely alone, essentially. It's completely destroyed her life. She did a great job. I mean, she carries the whole movie because it's about her.
It's tight, like at her face for majority of the time. Man, she's such a gentle, like the way that she approaches the Dr. Rose character is so gentle. And just like you can feel the kindness from, your seat.
I think you're having another manic episode.
You don't know. I feel it all around me, squeezing.
Carl, I know that what you're experiencing feels real, but it can't hurt you. I promise.
I haven't seen her in anything else, but her acting was incredible. And then for her to like loosen and go mad was incredible.
Yeah.
It's been a learning curve for me. I wasn't aware of like how much it would wear on me physically to be this heightened, stressed, anxious for so many hours a day. Like the toll it takes on your body is astronomical.
Sosie's got this amazing ability to really bring out emotion and anxiety, and she can sort of fill that space of a character who is on that downward trajectory in a way that I've never seen before. And she threw herself into it in a way that I think blew everyone away.
That didn't work.
I thought everyone else, honestly, around her they were fine. I don't think anyone else was really anything to write home about, but
A-Train,
that's fine.
I want to love him, but
A-Train turned out to be kind of a shithead.
Yeah.
He immediately called a psychiatrist when she started to like kind of fall apart. Not really there. He was just like he ran.
Oh,
like A-Train would.
He's a runner.
Super fast. And I didn't think anyone else around her really needed to be that strong because she was, and we were with her the whole time. The one thing I will say about her is she kept turning off all the lights in her apartment. I'm like, girl, like you're being stalked by an unseen entity, and she's like actively like turning off lights and like going to bed. I'm like, we're turning on more lights in this place.
Yeah.
Come over here.
It was so creepy.
She turns off the light then and goes to sleep. I'm like,
Well, because she is a psychologist and she understands that it's all in her head.
sure. Yeah. I'm leaving that room. I am shutting that door.
There are times that I have just left my house and just gone to a friend's house, growing up, because I'm like all alone in the house and I hear a creak and I'm like, nope.
Set me up in the hammock
Goodbye.
outside. Honestly, when has a ghost ever haunted someone in their backyard? Loophole!
Oh, I was thinking that we could make this movie.
The backyard
haunted
ghost. It's in the works. Shall we get to the meat?
Absolutely.
The meat of this movie. Wow, it's gonna be some weighty meat because this character. That's the new.
Those are big chi-chis.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat in here. The main character, Dr. Rose, as we said, she is a psychiatrist. She's trying to help people through their trauma while also dealing with her own trauma. And throughout the movie, we find out it has a lot to do with witnessing her mother's death.
Have you considered the reason you feel stuck? could actually be more about your mother's suicide. Do you still blame yourself?
I'm really not trying to relitigate that part of my life right now, so.
It's my impression this experience with your patient triggered old anxieties compounded with too much stress, not enough sleep. You have wounds that have never fully healed.
But it also seems like it's things that haven't really been dealt with in her life.
Or even still, like those traumas live in your body, and you're always going to get little residuals of the emotion or the memory. And so I can see her like had gone through this journey of healing, but then there's a reintroduction of it, because I can't imagine witnessing that scene either of somebody doing all that.
Nearly cutting their face off. I feel like that would affect anyone. It affected me. And you're totally right. Maybe she was healed from it, but as this movie kind of does say, those wounds are never really healed. They're always there. And this is kind of a picture of almost how unchecked trauma, how that can spread into different parts of your life. I mean, once she witnessed that awful incident, that kind of kicked off this curse where this being was coming after her and feeding off of her trauma. And it infected every part of her life. It affected her work. They eventually sent her home. It affected her relationship. Her and A-Train parted ways. It affected her family. Like her sister wanted nothing to do with her after she served her nephew the dead cat. Oh, yeah. So it's feeding off and isolating her from every part of her life. And it's kind of this idea of how trauma can, whether you heal from it or not, it can still seep into different parts of you.
It's all consuming.
Yeah. It can, and then eventually consume you completely.
There's definitely a few things in this film that really frighten me, which is why I wanted to make it. What it might be like to have your mind turn against you and not being able to trust your own reality and you know, the feelings of paranoia and anxiety, and to go along with that, the feeling of not being believed. Your closest friends and family not believing you and actually pushing away from you. I think that's a universal fear that almost anyone can relate to.
Yikes.
Yeah,
pretty sad.
yikes,
And then
indeed.
there is the other side of it too, where everyone around her, to them, she's having this like psychotic break.
You're not hearing me. You are not hearing me.
This is exactly what happened to Mom.
And they don't know how to deal with it.
No.
Everyone in her life kind of just pushes her away, which, I mean, we don't really know how to deal with mental illnesses all that much. So everyone else's response around her is just to kind of turn a blind eye and leave her alone.
Be avoidant, because then that just means that, I don't know, like they're going to have to devote 24/7 all of their attention to this person because that is what they need at the moment. But she is acting in such violence that everyone around her is like, what the hell? Like, who would know how to navigate something like that when also, like, this person is a psychiatrist.
The person who's supposed to know how to cope with these things.
And then you yourself are trying to protect, you know, yourself, your family, and it's scary to be in either person's like shoes.
Yeah.
So this way, her trauma is absolutely consuming her. And then it's getting closer and closer as she reacts, and then everybody else is leaving her. This thing is just at her doorstep.
Almost time, Rose.
When the fuck are you?
Almost time, Rose.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So scary.
Very scary. Very scary. And then there is the idea of the smile, which there is discussion of masks, the masks that people wear to hide what they truly are or maybe what they're truly feeling.
Sometimes it pretends to be someone that I know. Sometimes it's a random stranger. Sometimes it looks like my grandfather who died in front of me when I was 7. It's like it wears people's faces like masks.
I think the concept of the smile, this like, just like overstretched, creepy ass smile that's clearly just not natural, is just going towards how people hide behind things because they can't cope with it or because they don't want to face it, really.
Happy people are the scariest people. That is what this movie taught me.
Don't trust happy people.
Don't. If they're happy and chirpy, turn the other way.
Yeah.
They're there to kill you.
Okay, I'm going to remember that. Thanks, Leslie. Lessons from Leslie.
Ding.
How we get to the cook?
Let's cook it up.
Let's cook it up.
Cooking Mama.
Cooking Mama. I had that on. Oh, Pazuzu.
Pazuzu, what are you doing, bro?
That's a good way to start off season 4. Oh,
Break.
boy. His penis broke.
Oh, no.
No.
Actually, he could
can lose a
take
couple
a
inches.
couple.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
This movie, we're going to push past that. This movie reminded me a lot of It Follows, like I said, but especially The Ring, because of this time constraint, this like time bomb that we establish at the beginning of the movie of this entity that is going to move closer to you. And I think they do at one point establish that no one that's been cursed by this has lived more than a week. So there is that like 7 days aspect.
How long was it between each victim's death?
None of them survived longer than a week.
It adds this inherent stress. It adds this inherent heighten of stakes because you have to work against time. So the movie is Rose, just like trying to figure out what's going on, investigating the clues, trying to figure out if there is a way that she can survive and beat her trauma, essentially.
I wanted the movie to feel like a constantly escalating nightmare for the main character.
It's about trauma and mental illness and facing our demons, and as trauma tends to do, it creeps back up.
I think it's always really funny when it's just like a straight week. It's just like, it's 7 days. Sunday through Sunday.
I guess demons, go based off of like our calendar.
Yeah, exactly.
7 days.
If I start on a Monday, I'm going to end them on Monday.
Yeah, well, by Tuesday, they'll
Tomorrow's
start seeing me
Lucy.
lately. I'm gonna start scratching by the 3rd day on the window.
That's why you don't see it often.
Yeah, they like have it planned out.
Yeah.
They have an extensive calendar of all of their appointments.
Oh, God.
Those demons are busy.
Yeah.
Demons are busy.
Overworked.
Yeah. Well, some of them, they said that they finished in 4 days.
Some of them didn't even make it past 4 days.
This week, I'm just going to knock them out.
Damn.
Knock them out.
Yeah. It's the holidays.
Yeah.
He needed to go back home for Christmas.
It's the holiday season. Yeah, they got to have Christmas in hell.
It's cold outside. I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to kill you. And then really the idea, too, that they're playing with of trauma affecting your entire life. I really do like how they told that story of it just completely isolating her in the end. And then she finds out that there was a break in the curse train with this Tally guy.
Your patient is going to die unless she kills someone. That's the only way you can get rid of it. She has to make sure there's a witness for it to pass to, because this thing needs trauma to spread. That's what gives it power. Trauma.
It's cyclical because then you have to put trauma on someone else.
And that's exactly what he says when she's there is it feeds off of trauma. You have to inflict trauma. Whatever the murder is, it has to be brutal and you have to do it in front of somebody. And
so now it makes me appreciate the ending a lot more in the sense that you just can't.
You can't.
Outbeat it.
You can't. Well, I think
Because I don't like the idea of also needing to inflict trauma on someone else. Like that is, everybody's losing.
Exactly. I think that's kind of the point is she does contemplate murdering someone, even fantasizes about it to pass off the curse, but she can't bring herself to do that. And
I know what I need to do. What? This thing, it needs all of its victims to pass it on in order to survive, but if there's no one else around, then it has no way to pass.
Your plan is just to avoid people forever?
I am not. I'm gonna keep running, okay? I gotta face it.
what she eventually comes to is that she has to face it alone. She has to be by herself, and because it's her own mind, she should have control completely over everything that's going on inside of it. Mm-hmm. And the movie does take us through that. We do have a moment of hope where she defeats her trauma, her mom guilt hanging over her in the form of this massive, massive mama.
So scary.
Lanky, crazy mama. And she has a moment of being able in her mind conquer it. And she leaves and she's able to go back to her ex and make right the wrongs that she did to him. But no, it's not that easy because trauma doesn't just go away. It's always there. That whole leaving was just in her mind. The trauma reopened and consumed her eventually, and she ended.
Yep.
Gasolino.
A mí me gusta la gasolina.
Yeah, and the first time that I saw this movie and it ended like that, I was like, damn, that sucks. That's super lame and not hopeful. But honestly, with where we're at with mental illness, it can feel that way sometimes. We're like, what do we do?
So the screenwriters, the director, anybody could definitely feel some sympathy, to that.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's cyclical. Yeah. It's going to continue.
It's going to continue, but
sorry, Joel.
It's a battle.
It's a battle. Everyone's going to hopefully
keep fighting.
I hope Joel fights.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a cop.
He'll be fine. He'll just keep running.
Okay,
he's a runner. He's a drag star.
Okay, Joel.
I did hear that for Smile 3, they're going to cast somebody very lanky to bring back that monster. And they're thinking about Timothée Chalamet.
Okay.
I couldn't even finish my own joke.
Timothée Chalamet. Okay.
Yeah. They're casting him, so.
Timmy.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Smile 3. We'll see. Yeah, now it's a franchise. I mean, they've been able to make Smile 2 and now Smile 3. So it's.
Well, on mic, have you seen Smile 2?
No.
Ooh.
I've not seen Smile 2.
Ooh.
I do, but you have.
I have.
Multiple times.
Smile 2, I've only seen once.
Oh.
Smile 1, I've seen 4 times. So yeah.
You know what you're talking about when it comes to Smile 1.
Well, my memory ain't that great. There's a reason why I've seen it 4 times.
That's why I'm here, to fill in the blanks.
But Smile 2 is interesting because obviously it's another person. Different person. We're seeing how they get affected and what they can do to combat their trauma. So it's great. And I would love to hear your thoughts.
It's going in the bucket. It might pop up on the podcast.
And I also want to hear what, these folks at home, what their thoughts on is about Smile and Smile 2.
All the smiles.
All the smiles.
The Smile trilogy. Yeah, cool. Well, speaking of Smile, let's get to the thrill, which is the creepy
aspects. No, not with this lighting.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty sinister lighting.
The shadows. It works.
It works. But yeah, I mean, we have this unseen entity a la It Follows that can change and be someone you know, someone you don't know. someone
It's
who's dead.
morphin time.
It's morphin time.
That's what it says
Take
every time.
form of dead mom. And so you never know when it's coming. Just like trauma, it just pops up out of nowhere and it can just sneak up on you. And they were doing, I think, some just great techniques that I kind of mentioned before to have this really eerie feeling, these long, long takes. And I think the one that sticks out in my mind is the first time that Dr. Rose sees the dead patient after the traumatic incident. She's at her refrigerator and closes the refrigerator. Very classic. You think something's going to be behind the door. Something's not. And then she just stands there for a second and just slowly looks over to the corner. And the shot, still in a one take, slowly pans all the way over to the other corner of the room. And we see the dead patient just like in the shadows smiling. Ooh, eerie. Just a long, drawn-out moment to just end on something super, super creepy.
Like
and just skin crawling.
Yeah. You know it's going to be there. So you expected it in the beginning. So you're like, oh, shit.
But I
Here
still
it
don't want to
comes.
see it. I still don't want to see it.
And it's so slow. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Creepy
For
moment.
me, I think just when the mom, it just came out. That to me, I was like, okay, pause. Gotta adjust. But they did a good job.
Yeah.
With all the scary aspects of this movie.
Tom Woodruff is somebody whose work throughout the years I've always looked up to. He and Alec were part of the team that built the Alien Queen and Aliens. And so for some of the specific effects we had in the film that I wanted to pull off practically, I wanted to go to these guys that in my eyes were legends.
Plan is that we'll stretch this over this, and then Kevin would reach up, pulling this back, so this will stretch and tear.
There's something that happens on set when you have practical effects and they're there and they're real and the actors can interact with them. It creates a certain kind of magic that is so additive compared to just purely relying on VFX or CGI. And I think it's partially that growing up watching movies with practical effects was one of the reasons I wanted to become a filmmaker.
And give us another big open of the mouth.
I love the slowness of it. That to me was what sets a true kind of scare. Because it's deeper. It's not just surface. It's like deeper inside of you.
The well-paced, slow-paced shots with the music too was like, which was this like very eerie, droney, again, very 70s, 80s synth music underneath everything that would just slowly come up out of nowhere and go and like heighten to a point. Or would come out of nowhere on a shot. And so the use of the music with how they paced out the actual cinematography, it was great. It was a great marrying of the two.
Yeah. It's tactful.
It was tactful.
Because also, like we mentioned, there's a lot of jump scares in a lot of these movies, right? And I think those that have been the more recent horror fans, that's their style. That is what they know. So things might be scarier in the sense of just like, and here, and here, and here. It's just faster paced. Not a lot of people have patience for like a slow moving film. And I think this one was able to, like you said, marry both of it.
Yeah.
Both of these kind of styles and work for a larger audience.
Smile.
Smile.
Good job. Good job, Smile.
Smile.
It's funny because it is like the new style, but it reminds me of a 70s aesthetic, especially like giallo horror. It's a much slower pace and you're sitting on shots for a lot longer, enjoying the cinematography, enjoying the production design. And it's funny that we've just gotten back around to that point of now we're having these movies, instead of just feeling the need to just be a scare for no reason, we're getting back to like the artfulness of making the film, and it's still scary.
It's still scary.
It's still creepy.
Let me tell you.
Let's get to the final ride of Smile.
All right. Beep beep.
Pull in. Which kind of I that was going to be something that I brought up in this, is that yes, we let shots draw out, but it never feels slow. No, the pace of the movie is great. And something that I loved that they were doing was between scenes, they were doing very smart transitions where we're either cutting on like a loud sound effect to like make you feel like you're jumping into another moment. Or drawing something out underneath to smoothly transition into the next scene. It never really feels like we're cutting to a scene. We're transitioning to a scene, which just keeps you on the ride of the movie.
The storytelling
the whole time.
Better.
Yeah.
It feels congruent. It feels just, I don't know, smooth, even though we're seeing a horror movie.
Yeah. And even though it does get to a hopeless ending, I do enjoy it.
Yeah, you're rooting, right? You're rooting the whole time. And you want your protagonist to live. You don't want to place death on people, especially for somebody that you got to know so intimately, because we are diving into their traumas. So you're like, all right, girl, come on, get through it. Just do it. We're like, yeah, kill that person.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sure.
Live, girl, live. And it doesn't happen.
No.
And you're just like, fuck. And you're left hopeless. You're just like sitting in your seat, just kind of like defeated a little bit, but like, fuck, that was a good movie.
It was hard to swallow the first time. The second viewing, I was like, it kind of makes sense.
It makes sense.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Smile.
Smile, man.
2022. All right, let's get to these smashed pumpkins.
Let's do it.
And in Deadlights fashion, we will give our custom log lines for this movie and then grace you with a review. Actually, we have a new little thing we're adding called the Creepiest Kitty Award, where we're also going to give our little opinion of what we think the creepiest moment was of the movie. It doesn't have to be a kill, doesn't have to be necessarily what anyone would consider a creepy part. It's just what we think the creepiest part is. So we're throwing that in, Creepiest Kitty Award.
Meow.
But let's get to it, shall we? Would you like to go first?
Oh, wow. Did you go first last?
I can't possibly remember that.
I feel like you did.
I
don't know. But yeah, I'll go first.
All right, let's hear it.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
4.5.
Wow. And then I should say my log line, right?
Yes, let's hear it.
Go to therapy. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. All right, and Creepiest Kitty?
We kind of talked about it. The mom in the fucking bedroom. Just anything about her was chilling.
And I know that because the director didn't want to use so much CGI, some of it was enhanced by CGI. But for the most part, I think they used a miniature version of the set and had the actor like actually in like a smaller version to get that effect, which
wow,
creepy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Things like that is what like makes it just even more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Of it.
And
Smile.
it'll stand the test of time because of that. For sure. All right. I'm going to give it a 4.3.
Ooh.
Pretty close.
3.
My log.
Sure, you changed the last minute.
No, I wrote it to lock it in. All right, my log line is smile. It's going to be all right. Smile. Rose is going to be all right. Smile. Trauma can't actually kill you. Smile. Rose can't get over it. Smile. Big Mama found you. Smile. Can't escape. Smile. Bye, Rose. Smile.
Is that the Michael Jackson song? Smile.
Oh.
I said Michael Jackson and now he's here.
The Deadlights are not liking this. Oh my gosh. Well, my creepiest kitty is probably... It's lost all color. I'm sorry, Deadlights. I'm sorry. My creepiest kitty is probably that long shot of going from the kitchen refrigerator to seeing her dead patient for the first time in the corner.
Yeah,
Oof.
that's a good one.
Really, it gave me like Hereditary vibes of like mom in the corner of the room.
Oh, the room?
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, like I said, like very like goosebumps, skin crawling kind of unsettling
Eerie.
moments.
It's eerie.
Yeah. They had a good amount of those, which good on them. Good on them.
Yeah, smile, man.
Smile. Good way to start it off.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Season 4, here we come.
We're diving hard.
Head first.
No
arms, just like
a
fish.
Because outside of the podcast, I've seen a lot of films in theaters. So I'm so excited to see what we can draw for this bucket. Because there's some that I need you to see, so we could talk about it.
We got a lot of horror coming out recently, and more to come. So
Yeah.
it's going to be exciting, and I'm really happy that we're in the Playground Social Studio finally.
Thank
and
you.
Rudy, thank you for being with us in the booth.
Yeah.
Nice. And thank you to everyone who's listening, watching for the past 3 seasons, and onward to season 4.
Onward to season 4. That's crazy.
Wow. Well, you can follow us at the Deadlights Pod. You can follow me at BeepBeepRichieT.
And me, Color Me Leslie.
But until next time, let's get spooky,
Let's
y'all.
get spooky.
It's coming for me. It's coming for me. It's somewhere. Where is it? It's you. All right, we can cut. We're done messing around.